I'm Aaron Freeman, and I saw a lot of blue magic tonight in the thrilling Falcons win on Monday Night Football.
I'm Jarvis Davis, and Xavier Watts was well worth it.
Rise up, A-Town. It's the Falcons Squad. Everything Atlanta Falcons every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the ATL. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Straight from the ATL, the Falcons Squad Show starts now.
Welcome to the Falcons Squad Show, your home for the best Atlanta Falcons football talk. I am your fill-in host, Aaron Freeman. Alongside me is Locked On analyst Jarvis Davis. Tanitra Batiste, our normal host, is out tonight, so she left the inmates to run the asylum. So we will be, covering this Falcons win. This is a squad show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in all of the galaxy. We'll be talking all about this thrilling 27-24 win for the Atlanta Falcons over the LA Rams on Monday Night Football, talking about how the defense stepped up in a major way. It was a big night for Bijan Robinson, a classic Oreo performance for the Atlanta Falcons with a tale of two halves. And of course, since we got to win, we got to give out our game balls. But Jarvis, let's start this thing with this defense stepping up in a major way. We talked about it on the Monday morning squad or Monday afternoon squad show, what we needed to see from this Falcons defense, and did they actually deliver on what we needed to see to keep this Rams offense at bay for an entire first half of this game?
In the famous words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, give me a hell yeah. You talk all right, they did. Man, the play of Xavier Watts, man, like, I know we've been having conversations about whether or not the Falcons got shucked and jived on that trade. And I know you talked about it. I kind of hinted at it. I love the idea of getting two edge rushers. That's just my world that I live in. You know what I mean? I'll never complain about getting multiple edge rushers in the first round. But, man, can we start talking about Xavier Watts? They got that third-round draft pick and picked him. So you're talking about a James Pierce Jr. who is looking at rookie defense of the year type situation. We talked about him having a chance to kind of put his name in the conversation, but Xavier Watts said, "Excuse me, sir, let me get this spotlight." He made Matt Stafford look like Detroit Lions Matt Stafford out there throwing all those doggone picks, man. And when you think about it from that aspect of it, they did everything. These guys listened to the show on the Monday morning to get themselves prepared for this game tonight, and they said, "Oh, all we got to do to win is get pressure on Matthew Stafford and put him on the ground a few times." Man, Jarvis and Aaron, they know what the hell they talking about, man. Let's go do that, coach. And Jeff O'Brick did it, man. They got it done tonight.
Yeah. We talked about
the first half.
Yes. Everything is caveat in the show. First half, when we're talking positively about the Falcons, it's only the first two quarters or the last 5 minutes of the game, and even the last 5 minutes was very hit and miss. But we talked about, you mentioned it, Jarvis. We talked about how James Pierce had an opportunity to really kind of make a name for himself in that defensive rookie of the year, but it was really Xavier Watts that kind of put his name forward because he was also another one. I didn't get a chance to check the FanDuel odds to see if they flipped or anything after this game, but he certainly was up there going into the last couple of weeks.
Just saying.
And he definitely did his thing. Him and Jesse Bates, that elite safety duo. Jesse Bates with another pick six, 3 years, 3 pick sixes, all in red helmets. It's just like a magic formula. And you hear the rumors about, hey, they might get a throwback inspired jersey change in 2026. And it's like, oh, well, you got to keep Jesse Bates if we're going to be rocking red helmets anymore, because this man shows out whenever the red helmets are out there. But you're right. Xavier Watts had an outstanding game. You saw, you were able to get 3 sacks on Matthew Stafford in this game. You were able to see them get pressure, particularly with some stunts throughout this game to try to throw some wrinkles at this Rams offensive line that had three backups. We saw DJ Humphries have a very rough night, right?
Yeah.
A number of penalties that he had that wiped out some big gains for the Rams in this game. And it was one of those things where, like, you look at this defense because of the early play of the offense and taking the lead, it kind of took the Rams run game out of the equation in this game. Now, the Rams did have some success in that third quarter running the football when the game got a little closer. But for the most part, this Falcons defense did all the things that they need to do, particularly early in this game, to give this team a chance to win this football.
Yeah, man. And I always talked about how I feel like the one weakness in Kaden Ellis's game is pass coverage.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to say, and you can correct me if you think differently, this had to be his best coverage game I've seen him play since he's put on a Falcons uniform. The fact that he was running 30 yards downfield with was it Davis, number 19, down the field like that, step for step with that man, and then Xavier Watts got enough room to be able to come over there and pick that bad boy off. He was running right with him, man. And I'm sitting up here like, that's the type of stuff that you like, right? And then he had the PBU early in the first half as well in coverage. I just loved what I saw from Kaden Ellis tonight. That's the type of stuff that you look for, even though guys know their limitations. They know them. But when it comes to just being prepared and knowing where you're supposed to be, knowing what to expect, pretty much knowing what route he's going to run so you can position yourself to have enough leverage to be able to turn and run when you know he's about to get ready to break. I just saw that consistently tonight. And the linebacker play as a whole with Divine Diablo and just being the Megatron linebacker that he is, right? Even if the guys make the catch on it, he's right there to put them right there on the ground, right where they catch the football. I just think that the linebacker play, mostly in the first half, you know what I'm saying? They were pretty consistent throughout the game. Let me say, I give the linebacker core, they were pretty consistent throughout the entire game. But, man, in that first half, those dudes were lights out.
Yeah. And, we talked about Puka Nacua. I said on the morning show, it's like, wow, if he got 225 yards against the Seahawks, what is he going to do against this Falcons team? Puka's pretty quiet for 3.5 quarters. Now, Puka decided he was like, I'm going to take over these last 5 minutes of the game.
He entered the chat, that's for sure.
He was like, y'all kept me in check for a while, but I'm going to take over these last couple minutes of the game. But you got to hit some corners too. AJ Terrell, CJ Henderson locking up, and I'm sitting here thinking that, the Falcons weren't always asking AJ to line up on Puka's side. They were confident in CJ Henderson to handle that. And I'm sitting here thinking, Jarvis, like, there were a couple missed tackles later in the game from CJ Henderson that we gotta clean some things up there. But I'm just like, hey, do the Falcons have a CB2? Do the Falcons have a CB2?
Man, it's funny that you say that because I was wondering I know the way CJ Henderson ended the game against the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, he was more likely going to be the starter. But I like how they still were able to get Kobe Bryant involved. He was in there. He was coming up making tackles at the line of scrimmage in the run game. I love that type of stuff. He's not scared to mix it up. And when you think about AJ Terrell, I know people, it seems like it's so opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to him. Either you think he's great or you think he's overpaid ball. Like, there are moments where AJ Terrell has his moments. Sure, he got the flag. He had the flag game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, we get, it happens. But that play in the fourth quarter on that last drive against Puka Nacua, when he stuck his hand in that mug, when you talking about having just enough wingspan to make that incomplete pass, because if he doesn't knock that ball, keep his hand on that ball and kind of move it around in order for Puka to kind of reset his feet, he had to reset his feet to get him in to make that for it to be a catch. That's elite athlete type stuff, man. For him to be able to stick with that, man, the way he on that particular play, man, he made up for a Tampa Bay game. Like man, that was a hell of a play, man. Like that's the type of stuff that you just look at it and you look at his contract. You're like, oh, okay, all right, cool, yep, it's well worth it.
Yeah,
all good.
Yeah, the amount of people that are in AJ's pockets about like how he's overrated, and I'm just like, yeah, he's a cornerback. There's going to be some bad games. 3
it's
a
the
year,
league, man.
3 like y'all are mad at 3 bad games. Like like I wish there's so many players on this team that I want them to have 3 good games a year. AJ has 3 bad games and is lights out for 13, 14 other games a year, and it's like. And, again, Puka Nacua, 225 yards against the best defense in the NFL and had like 36 yards until like the final 4 minutes of the game, right? And until he started going off and whatnot. And so, like, yeah, you got to give AJ Terrell his respect as well as the rest of this secondary, because we talked about it this earlier today, where it's like the cornerback room, when you look at this defense, is probably the biggest question mark, and they stepped up in a major way tonight, and that was a big part where you got as we're talking about the front, we're talking about the linebackers, we're talking about the secondary. Everybody stepped up in a major way, and we needed to see that in order to slow down one of the best offenses in the NFL in this Rams team, and the Falcons were able to achieve that in the first half.
Yeah, man, and that's when you think about going into games and knowing what to expect. Going into that game against the Arizona Cardinals, the Cardinals are going to try to throw the football to Trey McBride. That's just how it works. And guess what? They took him away. Now, the other tight end got off a little bit, but it wasn't Trey McBride. That's the whole point. You game plan to take guys out the game, take guys out of games, and not allow them to be as effective as they have been, throughout this season. And then when you look at the final numbers for Puka Nacua, the guy only ended up with 5 catches on 47 yards on 10 targets, dog. That matters. They tried to get him to rock. They schemed it up. They got him on the matchup that they wanted. We talked about this, early on in the week. We said that, hey, Sean McVay likes to find matchups and take advantage of those guys. He was able to get the matchups. They just weren't able to convert. And guess what that means? That means that you got guys like AJ Terrell. You got guys like Xavier Watts. You got guys like Jesse Bates. You got guys like CJ Henderson and Kobe Bryant. All of those guys, your linebacker core, Kaden Ellis, Divine Diablo, all those guys were just locked in, So I think that, and even though I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later, talk about the tale of two halves, how it was an Oreo game, you still only scored 24 points. You still have the number 1 offensive lead, 24 points, bro. You're supposed to win that football game. I don't care how it ended up, how you got there. But if you can hold those cats, that team, that squad to 24 points, yeah, you're going to figure out a way to win, or you better figure out a way to win. So, yeah, man, I think overall, the way from the game plan, to start this game off and how they were being aggressive and how guys were getting after it, I think that, man, I was having a conversation with one of the media members, man, and I just said, we're talking about Raheem Morris and how it looks like he might potentially come back. I said he better thank his lucky stars he hired his homeboy Jeff Ulbrich, because, hey, if it weren't for him turning his defense around like he has, I think we'd be having a different conversation right now.
Yeah, and you talk about 24 points. 7 of the points came on special teams, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But before we get into the negative part of that conversation, I do want to mention one issue on defense. Brandon Dorlus suffers an injury in this game, and was having a really strong performance before he seemingly hyperextended his knee. They showed in the broadcast him in tears as he was being carted off. He was immediately declared out. So not hoping to get some good news tomorrow, but given the circumstances, it doesn't seem like we're going to get that. But Jarvis, I'm curious, what were your thoughts on Dorlus's performance? And, despite this potential setback with a significant injury at the end of the game, what have you seen from Brandon Dorlus in his, essentially his rookie season, given you played like 11 snaps last year or whatever it was? What have you seen from Dorlus this season, if this is the end of his 2025 season?
A plus 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 plus, man. The relentlessness that he plays with, how tenacious he is, just the versatility that he plays with. He can play inside, he can line up outside in the big nickel when you want to have some run type fit, and in a pass situation, you want to be able to have a two-way go with how you are playing against the opposing offense. I can't say enough how much Brandon Dorlus has. That dude has made so much money this year. Oh my gosh. And when you think about him just being in his second year, that means you got 2 more years of some good free labor, baby. Yeah, I know he's getting paid, but it's free labor in comparison to what he's going to get if he continues on this track, right? Like being one of those interior defensive linemen, getting that rush. We haven't seen that. Grady Jarrett was that dude, right? But he wasn't necessarily a pass rusher, right? You can count on him from time to time to get there when he had some pressure on the outside, which was few and far between, and get that quarterback to step up in the pocket. But, man, the way Dorlus has been playing this year, man, it truly sucks that we're more than likely not going to see him against New Orleans back here at the Benz. But, man, I can't. I hope it is something that he can come back in a few months. Like you said, hopefully it is a hyperextension, in that he ain't pop nothing. As long as he ain't pop anything, I think he should be good to go. But I think we'll find out. We'll find out what the deal was with that, because he tried to walk off, and once he walked maybe about a couple of steps, he had to end up getting helped off the field, man. And I'm just like, yep, I knew what time it was then. And then they announced it right in the press box. Soon as they got him to the sidelines, I'm like, yeah, it's a wrap for him. But yeah, man, A++ season for Brandon Dorlus.
Yeah, as you said, hopefully we'll get some good news that, there's nothing surgical that needs to require that, is going to keep him out for the offseason and potentially put his 2026 season, or at least the start of his 2026 season, in jeopardy. So hopefully we'll get some good news on that front. But as you said, a great, outstanding season for Brandon Dorlus, stepping up in a major way. Made you kind of forget about your boy Braden Fisk for just a little bit, Jarvis. Just a little bit. I'll be bringing up. It helped that he did not play tonight, or if he did play, I don't remember seeing him.
We probably talk about this a little bit later, but you know what Jared Verse did when he took that bad boy to the house?
Yeah.
Did you see what he did?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. So we will talk a little bit later about that, but not yet.
Not now. You got a basket to go. Right
we have gone over 15 minutes talking about this game, and we haven't truly mentioned the star of the night, which was Bijan Robinson, and we'll be breaking his performance tonight as well as this offense's performance tonight as we continue this Falcons squad show. This Falcon squad is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge, especially this time of year. But with Prize Picks, it's always good to feel right. With the high-pressure football matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every single night, the action never slows down, and Prize Picks is going to let you stay in control of that action because they're the daily fantasy app that's going to let you build lineups based off of player stat projections. No drafts, no waiting, just pick more or less and play your way. You can create a lineup in less than a minute, and you can choose from a huge range of unique stats, whether we're talking yards, fantasy score, field goals, free throws, three-pointers, whatever fits your strategy. So go download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So, Jarvis, as we continue today's Falcon squad post game with myself, yourself, without Teenitra Batiste, we got to talk about Blue Magic, Mr. Walk on Water. This man was incredible. We talked about this on the Monday afternoon Falcon squad, where we needed to see Bijan Robinson be the best football player on the field, not Puka Nacua, not Matthew Stafford, not Jared Verse, not any of these other star players for the Rams. And Bijan Robinson absolutely lived up to that. Let me look at the stats. 22 carries, 195 yards rushing, including a 93-yard touchdown run. And he also added 5 catches, 34 yards, also another touchdown as well in the passing game, for a combined, if I could do the math real quickly, 229, if my math is mathing, 229 total yards. He broke 2,000 last week, and now I think he broke the single season record for the Falcons.
Yes, William Andrews. Yep.
Yeah.
40-year-old record. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, well, he'll get it in 2 games. He got it in 1.
Go ahead and finish it out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think. I want to take you back a little bit, Free, that we were talking about this man not having a run over 30 yards. Was it 30 yards or 40 yards?
I think it was 40. Yeah.
Over 40 yards. People were like, oh, man, he doesn't have the explosiveness to be able to take it to the crib. He always get caught. He always break it. They end up getting caught. Somebody get an angle on him. Not tonight, buddy. 93-yard. I had a all 22 view of that run, dog. The way he set those guys up, it was just so beautiful, man. I wish you had the view that I had on that particular run, because it was absolutely amazing, man. And then you think about, I think we got a good glimpse of what we were talking about. We didn't get a full Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, but man, when Bijan is doggone cooking, man, he can damn near do it by himself. The man can almost do it by himself. Because look, Kirk didn't have no great night. 13 of 20 for 126 yards, 6.36 yards per attempt. Right? There ain't nothing to doggone go home to mama about. Dog, it was get a ball to Bijan, bro, and then figure it out from there. There were times, we're gonna talk about it a little bit. Hey man, throw the ball down the field. I mean, how about that notion? You got guys to do it, but man, the way 7 was operating tonight, woo! I felt sorry for anybody trying to tackle that man. Nate Landman. Oh, did you see Nate try to tackle that man in the open field?
Oh, I saw it.
Did you see? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm sorry.
This was a great agenda game, Jarvis. This was a great agenda game. I'm watching Nate Landman, making tackles in the first quarter, disrupting. I'm like, man, I'm just seething. And then I'm watching Kaden Ellis break up passes. I'm like, yeah, that's a real linebacker. I'm watching Divine Diablo, making tackles immediately after catch. I'm like, that's a real linebacker. And
right.
Where was Nate Landman? I didn't see Nate. Was he on the ground when Bijan was running in the end zone? What was he doing? So I was sitting there, Jarvis. I'm like, this is a great game for me, yours truly, because I'm thriving right now. My agenda, my anti-Nate Landman agenda, is thriving right now. And
yeah, that man doing the snake out there, bro. I was like, dog, why even try? I know you get paid to, but why try, dog? Man, I almost felt sorry for Nate. I was like, dang, that's why the Falcons got rid of you, bro. That's why they let you walk, dog.
I needed it so bad, Jarvis.
Bro, he had no chance.
I needed
no chance to tackle 7. None whatsoever.
Yes. All I just needed was like a highlight reel, just like option route Bijan, just break him down in the open field. Like that was the one thing that was missing from this type of performance for me personally, just to prove, like, because I've had people in my mentions, Jarvis, be like, oh, you were sitting here talking about Nate Landman being bad, and I'm just like, yeah, I know he's balling out for the Rams, all that stuff, but tonight I just need it. I just need this one thing, just this one thing. And so, I appreciate you, Bijan, for giving me this. This is why you're Blue Magic. This is why you walk on water. But as you said, Jarvis, it was basically the Bijan show because the rest of the offense, David Sills, Darnell Mooney, like Kyle Pitts didn't do much. Drake London barely did anything. Those two guys combined for 3 catches, 20 yards on 5 targets, right? The Rams took those guys away for the most part. Sure. And it was basically a couple of catches from David Sills, a couple of play action passes down the field to Darnell Mooney. And then it was just like Kirk was just like, why overthink it? I'm just going to check the ball down to Bijan and let this man cook. And this is our offense. For basically 3.5 quarters, it was basically the Bijan Robinson show.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing that I find interesting. And normally, that's how I gauge how good of a play caller, not just Zach Robinson, just period in the NFL. There are going to be moments where you aren't going to be able to, quote unquote, do what you do, right? And having all those guys healthy, Darnell, Drake, Kyle, Bijan, all those guys healthy, ideally you want to try to get all of those guys involved and put up 35 points, ideally. But like you said, the Rams took away Drake. They took away Kyle. Kirk was able to find Darnell on some play action stuff. He was able to get some separation, make a couple catches. Seals was able to get a couple first downs on with his catches as well. Just being able to adjust to say, all right, I know I can't do what I would like to do to make this thing look real pretty. But oh my gosh, I got a nice fallback plan. Give it to 7. I don't mind getting simplistic, dog. Especially when it's working. It was working. However you got him to rock, he was making it work. So I think that I think I'm giving Zach a little credit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I ain't saying he got the A++. I ain't gonna do that. But he did what he had to do.
He did what he had to do, Jarvis.
He did what he had to do.
When we talk about the tale of two halves, we will talk about Zach Robinson and this offense seemingly getting very conservative in the second half, where it was just like, look, we're up 21-0. What else do you want from us? We're just going to hold on for dear life for the rest of this game. But yes, you're right. They did what they had to do, and don't overthink it. Bijan Robinson, just give him the football and let him cook, right? And it's funny because the way that Bijan played tonight, and it's always funny because like when I look at Bijan and sort of being the singular force in this offense and being this incredible football player, but I always kind of look at him as like, well, he's not like a Derrick Henry where it's just like, just don't overthink it, just hand the ball off and just let Derrick Henry just smash into a defense. And Bijan's not that type of runner where it's just like he's just going to smash into a defense, but you saw it. He's a different type of runner where you're seeing, they highlighted it throughout the broadcast where all the jump cuts and all the little stutter starts and the cutbacks and all this stuff. And you could just see the frustration and the energy of the Rams defensive line where it's like, people falling over, getting, juked out of their shoes. And this was the type of performance that, again, it's not the same as a Derrick Henry, just a bulldozer just running through your defense all game long. But it was like, I don't know, trying to catch a little rodent, a little roach or something. It's just scurrying out in the middle of the kitchen floor or whatever. And you're just trying to corner it, and it's like it's too fast. It's out here, it's just this little jitterbug type of performance. And he just had this Rams defense completely turned around all night. And so it's not a Derrick Henry smash through the defense game, but it was like Derrick Henry, but in a very, very different way.
In a Barry Sanders way. I'll say it. You ain't gonna say it. Man, that's what I felt watching Bijan run the rock. Like guys were the defense. When you see all of the defensive line, you know how they kind of scan the defensive line before the play, before the offensive line walk up to the play. It was one particular instance. I think it was in the fourth quarter, and all the guys were kind of standing up, legs close together. And all 3 of them had their hands on their hips, dog, and they were just looking off into space. I was like, yes, That's what happens when you run around chasing that little mother blanket all over the doggone place. It's tiring, man. It's so tiring because you think you got him locked up, you get penetration, you doggone clip his little foot, and most of the time they're going to be, if you're a certain type of defensive lineman, those guys the normal guys are going to fall down to the ground, and you got your TFL. And there was one particular play, it was -7. -7. A normal running back would have been tackled for -7. That man turned it into 31 yards, man.
Press.
No, like that's the type of stuff that you can't teach that stuff, man. That man is the way he played tonight. I think Arthur Blank probably look at how Bijan played, like, man, Raheem had something to do with that. He gonna come back. Terry, you drafted him? Yeah, man. Ray, come on back. You know what I'm saying? Give me one more draft like that. You know what I'm saying? We gonna figure it out, baby. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna finally get this win this season for you. We're gonna do it for you. This is gonna be the do it for Terry season. Now, Arthur Blank gonna be called this is do it for Terry season because what I just saw on that field, there were a lot of people who were down that doggone pick. And, I'm one of them, you know what I'm saying? And anybody that drafts me players like that, man, like I want him to stick around at least for one more year.
Yeah, as I said, Jarvis, you have been punished. The football gods are like, Jarvis, we're going to punish you. You get to watch Bijan Robinson play football every Sunday. So
I love watching this man run the rock, man. Yeah. I love it.
Yes,
I love it, dog.
The best punishment there is. Best punishment there is.
I'll take that punishment all day.
Now, the Falcons like to punish us by having these type of performances where it's like, oh, first half, incredible. Second half, not so credible. So let's break down this Oreo performance, this tale of two halves. Why couldn't the Falcons get it right in the third quarter for seemingly the 15th umpteenth time this season? And we'll do that as we continue today's Falcon Squad Show. Today's episode is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. When you started your business, you weren't thinking about tax withholdings and managing your payroll spreadsheets. Those were the last things on your mind. But thankfully, there's Gusto to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so that you can focus on running your business and supporting your team, just like Bijan Robinson supports this team with all the stuff that he does. All right, think of Gusto as the all-in-one Bijan Robinson-esque remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that's going to make managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto is going to help you do it all from one place without the hassle or the hidden fees. Gusto will save you hours each week with their automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits, and you'll get peace of mind knowing that you can reach a certified HR expert anytime you need it. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnfl, and you'll get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnfl. One more time, that's gusto.com/lockedonnfl. So before we continue today's episode, I want to thank each and every one of you that are everydayers at the Falcon Squad Show. You are the reason why the Locked On Podcast Network is the #1 sports podcast network on planet Earth, and therefore #1 in the galaxy. But Jarvis, we've waxed poetic for 34 minutes about how the great things about the Falcons, defense, Bijan Robinson. It was a classic Falcons primetime game, right? They play their best under Raheem in primetime. They come out in the first half similar to what they did. I think the last time they played on Monday night against the Bills, going up with a big lead, 21-0 this time. So even better. But it's like you're sitting there, well, it's the third quarter. And this team is like the worst third quarter team in the history of sports. They get outscored 17-3. Special teams rears its ugly head, right? Blocked field goal, Jared Verse takes it 76 yards to the house, throws up the peace sign to the Falcons sideline like he's OCU Manura in 2014 doing it to the Saints defense as the Falcons finish that season with the sweep. Hopefully they'll get one You know, OC's not coming through that door next week, but you know, James Pierce is and Jalen Walker are, so we'll be just fine. But you know, Jarvis, we talked about it a little bit earlier, where it felt like this Falcons offense got pretty conservative in the second half. You know, we talked about the offense basically being the Bijan Robinson show. Wasn't a lot of throwing down the field from Kirk Cousins. Now he had maybe 5 passes completed that were more than 10 yards. It was a lot of checkdowns, a lot of screens, a lot of running the football. It felt like the Falcons were like, look, we got 21 points. That's all we expected to get in this game. We're going to take our 21 points and we're going to go home and we're just going to run out this clock. And it kind of bit them in the butt, as it often does in the third quarter. But what else did you see that led to the third quarter downfall for this football team?
2 words: Elijah Wilkinson. I don't understand this man. How do you jump off sides at home? It wasn't the most ruckus crowd in here. And you play offensive line, so the home crowd is quiet. And there weren't that many Rams fans in here. I saw some blue jerseys in the building, but they weren't deep like that. Why are you jumping outside, sir? Are you scared? Are you wishing the Falcons drafted Jared Burson? No. I mean, I did. I wanted to. I thought he was shooting the deuces at me. Like, yeah, big boy. Y'all supposed to have me. They ain't want me though. You know? But nah, man. Him jumping off sides, and then you talk about the block field goal. Elijah Wilkinson did not move. You play offensive line. You don't think you need to block on that block? He didn't even step. I know the old school way, field goal unit. You used to step down, and you have to kind of, lock in with the guy next to you. They don't do it like that anymore. But you at least have to block somebody. At least Hinton was doggone blocking somebody. He don't normally block nobody in regular offense. He blocked this man. Wilkinson did not move, man. It's just like brain farts like that are what gets you beat. And that's what the special team has been consistently. And then not only do you not move or block anybody, the guy gets through, blocks it, and picks it up and takes it to the house. So, yeah, man. I know we talk about this a lot. I know that people might get tired of me hearing this. There is no way that Marquis Williams keeps his job at the end of this season, man.
Yeah, I think it's been a done deal.
It's a wrap, bro.
Yeah. The conversation is, does Raheem stay? Does Zach Robinson stay? Does Terry stay? Does Rich McKay stay? There's never been a conversation at any point on Marquis Williams.
He's out of here, man. He got to go.
And it's unfortunate for Marquis, but as we discussed throughout the summer, you brought in a bunch of guys with the goal of boosting the special teams. Like the Falcons devoted significant resources this offseason, not trying to improve their offense, not trying to improve their defense. They're trying to improve the special teams, and it's been one of the worst special teams units in the NFL, and it showed itself once more. And they've only been able to get by the last couple of weeks because they've been playing worse special teams units.
Yeah, basically.
Shout out to Bradley Pinion. He did a solid job today.
Yeah, man.
He needed this because there's been rough Bradley Pinion moments, and I the Falcons were backed up at that one. And I was like, man, this is the classic 36-yard punt for Bradley Pinion, and he booted that thing 60 yards, and I'm like, I appreciate you, Bradley Pinion. I really do. Man. I really do.
Almost average 49 yards on the average. That's the type of stuff that combats all the other kerfuffles on that unit, right? I like watching that, right? And then how you normally well, I don't know if you have this. I know you used to have these feelings. I used to have a pit in my stomach when the kicker started to line up. I had no fear whatsoever that Zane Gonzalez wasn't going to boot that bad boy straight through the uprights. All they had to do was protect. As long as they protect, I knew that he was going to hit that field goal. And that's the type of stuff that you wish they would have gone through in training camp. Bringing a guy with NFL experience in here to compete with Young Wei Koo, and you don't go through this foolishness to start the season. And I think that Zane Gonzalez has come in here, he's proved himself, and he proves that he at least deserves to be a front runner for the kicking spot next year, regardless who's. Let me say this. We know that Marquis Williams is going to be his coach next year.
Yeah.
Regardless of who they clean house or they bring everybody back, we know who they not bringing back, and that is going to be the special team coordinator, Marquis Williams.
Yes. We wish the best for Marquis Williams on his next endeavors. Really do. No, I'm not being petty, Jarvis. I know it sounds like I'm being petty because
it sounds like it.
My tone is a certain way because the way I talk. Yeah.
Yes.
But I wish him the best. I really do. He seems like a genuine guy, and we have praised him at times in the past for the strength of the special teams when the offense and defense wasn't, very good here in Atlanta. And a big part of why they were able to win a lot of close games, was Young Wei Koo in that special teams unit carrying their weight. But unfortunately, it has not been the case this season. It really proved costly potentially in this game. Fortunately, the Falcons were able to hang on, but you were already going to see the narrative about, this team could have been so much better if not for the special teams. Special teams single-handedly lost them 3-4 games, whatever it was. And, you could already see that narrative building with that Jared Verse blocked field goal for a touchdown, with this game sort of being a microcosm of the Falcons season. But this team struggling in the third quarter is not solely on special teams, right? It just seems like that's when the special teams always seems to show up and rear its ugly head in the third quarter. But Jarvis, what is it about this team? We've been asking this question so much this year about, for whatever reason, third quarter happens and this Falcon team. Is it just simply, hey, the other team is making better adjustments, at mid-game than the Falcons are?
I mean, I'm talking about this game specifically. I saw a lot of soft coverage rushing from Jeff Ulbrich, which was very disappointing. I'm talking about, there are times where went into that whole D&D situation, and it's 3rd and 4, and you got corners playing 8 off 8 yards on 3rd and 4. I mean, how many routes can they run if they're inside the 20-yard line, bro? I mean, I don't understand that, right? Because at the end of the day, man, Sean McVay is going to adjust to what you're doing. So you got to have the adjustment to the adjustment. Okay, here, guys, hold in. We were doing this in the first half. Here's what I think they're going to do. And if they don't do this, then they have to be able to try to start doing this against us. So you got to go through multiple scenarios and not – I don't think they're going to the locker room saying, all right, man, just keep doing what you're doing. I think that's dumb. I give them a little bit more credit than that, right? Especially since Raw was in the same building with this man. So he knows that this dude's going to try to get this stuff figured out. So I think it's just is about taking that extra step. And I think that once things start getting tight, then you start to see them start to do some of the things that they were doing in the first half. And then you got Xavier Watts start making out-of-worldly type plays and just hey, man, just go play ball and make plays for you. Then the offense just pooped it down the leg and then capitalize off of that. So I think it's a bit. I think most of it is that they aren't playing out different scenario. They aren't playing out the adjustments at halftime, because especially when you go into it with a lead like that, you know those guys are going to do something drastic. It's not like, oh yeah, guys, we just got to do this, and then we're gonna come back and win this game. Like, nah, man. Here's what we're about to do: X, Y, 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 Z, 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 Z. You know, we're gonna get out this 13 personnel. We're gonna spread these mofos out, and then we're gonna try them. We're gonna try these folks deep. Even on the last drive, they were throwing it like they weren't even trying to get a field goal. It was almost they were trying to get a touchdown to win this doggone game. So, you know, when you taking those deep shots, you know, anything can happen. Cornerback can grab a guy, they can throw the flag. We've seen that, right? We've seen guys, you know, scoring drives on this defense where big chunk of the yards came from a yellow flag. So being aggressive, that aggressive style, it can benefit you. And I think that they need to understand that too, that it can work out on their end as well. Like, they have to understand that being aggressive when you're up like that can benefit you. You can't be scared for a negative result. You can't, because how you got there was being aggressive, was challenging, you know, that defensive line and challenging that offensive line and getting after those guys and throwing some different looks at Matthew Stafford and him checking out the play and then making a bad throw on the screen to Puka Nacua. That's the type of stuff that you have to continue to do if you want to continue to have success against really good football teams. That's the only way you're going to be in consideration or be called a really good football team, if you're aggressive, even when you have a lead.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, Jarvis. It did feel like, particularly in the third quarter, the Falcons were playing not to lose.
Yeah.
I think on both sides of the ball, they were just like, we're just going to hold on for dear life. And I don't think they really got their act together until the Rams tied it up, you know, in those final few minutes. And then they were like, oh, I guess we got to try to win this thing. And, you know, they were able to go out there and take care of business. Fortunately, we don't have another Falcons blown lead to have thrown back in our faces.
Bro.
You know, when they were up 21-3, I'm like, oh, thank God they made a field goal instead of going up 28-3 on their next score, because we're not going to get a Super Bowl reference. And then, you know, Jarvis, you may not have heard it, but Joe Buck was like, oh, the Falcons haven't blown a 21-point lead since their Super Bowl. And it's like, oh, thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to get it somehow. We can't escape it. So, you know, they did escape this one with a win. And because of that, we got to give out some game balls. So we will be wrapping this thing up here, giving out some of those game balls in all three phases for this Falcons team. So wrapping up today's Falcon Squad post game, let's give out some game balls, Jarvis. It's kind of obvious who deserves a game ball for the offense, but you know, it's Bijan. But is there anybody else that you want to highlight for the offense that stood out to you tonight?
No. Seven deserves. No, bro. I could go for 6 more minutes on doggone Bijan Robinson, man. Like, the way he put this team on his back. They won on his back tonight. They literally won on his back tonight. If he hadn't broke that bad boy for 93 yards, if he hadn't doggone, you know, ran that little crossing route in the end zone, and that young man tried his best to try to grab and figure out a way how to cover all in the same motion, and it just did not work. And Kirk saw him, and he just dumped that bad boy right over his head. I was just like, that's the type of stuff that ain't nothing you can do about it. What can you do? There's nothing you can do when you are one-on-one with this man. You're not going to tackle him. I don't care who you are. And I haven't been able to say that in the NFL in quite some time, because I grew up in an era watching some really good football players on the defensive side of the football. Oh my gosh. And for guys to kind of run up on this man and think they're about to get a lick on him, they'll take a lick at every now and then. But if you're gonna try to tackle him and put him on the ground, good luck with that.
Yeah. I'm gonna give some love for the offensive line.
Okay.
Jarvis.
Fair.
Good
for you.
Because I went into this game being like, man, Jared Verse and Byron Young and Kobe Turner and all these guys are going to terrorize Kirk Cousins because we know Kirk ain't moving. Right?
Nope.
Like getting into pressure, Kirk's checking.
He barely stepping up in the pocket, dog. You notice that?
Yeah.
He barely steps up in the pocket.
Yeah. He gets to his spot. This is my spot.
Yeah.
I'm throwing the football from here, or I'm not throwing the football at all. And so shout out to the offensive line. Yeah. They did not get terrorized. Like they gave up some pressure. Sure. Right? They gave up some pressures, but no sacks allowed in this game. Kirk refused to basically, he throwing some passes over the middle that he shouldn't have been throwing to avoid sacks. But shout out to the offensive line, and obviously, Bijan doesn't run for 195 yards. The Falcons don't run for 219 yards if the offense of line isn't taking care of it. So, want to give some love for the offensive line because they certainly outperformed my low expectations going into this game. And so want to give those guys some love there. But defensively, Jarvis, who's your game ball for?
I'm going Captain Obvious. I'm going to continue my Captain Obvious streak, and I'm going to give the game ball to my main man, Xavier Watts. I've talked about how this man got off to a super hot start and then kind of just mellowed out for a little bit. You know what I'm saying, man? I've been calling, trying to figure out X factor. Your name starts with X. Hey, Xavier, where you been? What's going on? Need you to play some football. We need you to make a statement. We need you to plant your flag in the game, man. And he did it. He did it. That man planted his flag and said, hey, man, I'm one of those dudes. They got me too. I started the show by talking about it, and I'm going to end this bad boy. They got another dude in this 2025 draft, man. So that's Billy Bowman. We saw some flashes when he was healthy. You got Xavier Watts. That dude like going to be a star. You got James Pierce Jr. He was a little quiet tonight.
Yeah.
Look quiet. I saw some stuff I ain't like. The way he was rushing late off the ball, then you jump off sides. That was a little sketchy too. Negate the roll type deal, but still, all in all, man, on pace to still got an opportunity to get 10 sacks, right? That could happen. And then Jalen Walker being an all-around guy, playing special teams, making tackles on special teams and going out there on the first team defense and rushing the passer and dropping in the coverage, playing stack linebacker, just a 5'2" guy, same guy that I saw in Athens and I covered. It's just this draft, man, is really, really good. There's a lot of light on this defense, and I think that as long as they continue to do that and continue to progress and do that, yeah, man. Xavier Watts he put his name on the map tonight.
Yeah,
I know we were calling for James Pierce Jr. to do it, but Xavier Watts did that. He did.
Excellent pick, Jarvis. Excellent pick. I'm gonna go with the other safety because the other safety put 7 on the board.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did. Yes,
he put 7 on the board, and they needed that 7. They needed that 7. Jesse Bates. He's gonna get the game ball because he's been much maligned because he hasn't been making the ball hawking, game changing plays that we have grown so accustomed to seeing.
I wonder who's been talking about that.
I'm
trying to figure out.
Xavier Watts is this young up and comer. You see, Jarvis. A second interception Xavier Watts got. He was cheating a little bit. Who you learn that from?
He's an infidel too.
Yeah, who did he learn that from?
We got another infidel on the team.
No. I sit here and I go, the student, right? starting to become the master, but you got to give credit to the master because this man was out here doing his things. I'm not going to say it because, out of respect for Tinitra, I'm not going to go off the rails or Maria Martin or anything like that and say something out of pocket here at the end of the show. But, Jesse Bates put 7 on the board. The Falcons needed that. They don't win this game without that pick 6. And, it's good to see Jesse Bates go out this season in this way after, he's been criticized a lot for not having those game-changing plays. And he had one tonight, and it was critical to the Falcons winning this game.
Yeah, man. That's the beauty of this thing, man. You got multiple guys that can make those type of plays for you. We've seen Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. combine for a sack strip and all that stuff and recovery. And then now you got a safety, Xavier Watts, who, if all he had to do, if he could have just looked who was trying to tackle him, it was offensive lineman running for his life, trying his best to catch up, and Matt Stafford. All he had to do was cut back, dog, and he would have took that bad boy to the house, and it would have been ball game. Like, I'm not used to this, man. I'm not used to being able to talk about multiple game-changing type players on Falcons defense. We haven't seen this before. When the last time we saw this? Well, it was multiple guys, bro. Multiple guys? Was it 98?
Oh, Asante
Chuck
Samuel.
Smith, Shane Jornet, Lester Archambault, Jesse Tuggle, Ray Buchanan, Ashley Ambrose.
Okay.
You
gonna name the whole roster, Jarvis?
Look, that's how long it's been. That's how long it's been, dog. I remember the good times for the good times. Yeah, I remember that, dog. And it's been a long time, dog. 27 years. 27 years, dog. We've been waiting on this, man. We've been waiting on this.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it looks so good. It looks so good. Divine Diablo. Man. Kaden Ellis about to be a free agent. I don't know. We ain't gonna talk about that now.
Yeah.
We got plenty of offseason to get into that, but
the whole offseason.
Multiple playmakers, dog. You have multiple playmakers up front, in the middle, and the back end of this defense. We haven't seen this for quite some time. They got the right coach dialing it up, and Jeff Olbrich. Man, got one more game of it.
Yeah. So, Jarvis, special teams. Who you giving game ball to?
Oh, man, Zane Gonzalez, baby. You know what I'm saying? Continue with my Captain Obvious. All you got to do is block for him. He's going to be good. He's going to go for it, baby. I hate to do the whole what if thing, but what if they would have just brought him in? Didn't they bring him in? Didn't they work him out early on in the year?
They did. When they signed Romo, they worked him out.
Yes. They worked him out early in the year. They could have done this training camp, dog. Bring all these guys in the training camp. You had a roster spot for my boy. I can't even think of his doggone name. Whatever his name is.
Lenny Creek.
Lenny Creek, yes, the singer, the R&B singer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. If he would have done that, man, I think, I don't know. I don't want to play the what if game, but I think Zane Gonzalez has done a really good job with just operational piece.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem finally got his operational piece. He brings that. I feel real calm when he comes to when he lines up to strike that football. Yeah. So yeah, game ball to Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, I will do the same. Give it to Zane. I know his name. I have learned his name.
See, look, that deserves a game ball right there.
It really is.
You know the man's name.
It took like 2 games, and then I was like, okay, I know who this man is. And as you said, there is operational piece. It's like I don't know if I have peace about the protection. because we got a couple block field goals.
It's special teams.
You know,
You
but
can't
like
full piece about anything with special teams.
You know, I have operational piece with Liam McCullough snapping that ball, Bradley Pinion holding that ball, and Zane Gonzalez kicking the ball. The other 8 guys on the field, I don't have piece over, but like that's been the Falcons special teams, as you said, all year long. So it's really been that sort of situation. But those are our game balls. We'll be back later this week with more from Tanitra, Maria Martin, as well as others to give you more insight into this game as well as this final game and what's at stake and whose job is on the line. So continue to make the Falcon Squad show your first listen, and for your second listen tonight, if you're not in the mood to go to bed quite just yet, stay up for Locked on Falcons post-game reaction. We got the
Bijan marathon. Y'all make sure y'all tune in.
We got the Kirk Cousins chaos meter, right, coming your way. So all that is in store for you on Locked on Falcons. It's all part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Thank you to our everydayers for listening. Just continue to make Locked on the #1 sports podcast network in the galaxy. That's going to do it for us. Until next time, guys, thank you. Your team every day.